Welcome back to New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creatives. It is I, the mayor, Flobo Boys, in the mayor's office. But as always, I am not alone. I'm being joined by someone who has so many talents. We're going to go through all episodes talking about them. We're talking about a painter, we're talking about the music side, and so much more. Please welcome Tanta T to the show. How you doing?
What's up, everybody? What's up, Flobo? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the show. Definitely an honor because I know you're busy. You are juggling plates, spinning plates, doing something with plates. You're just
Yes,
so
sir.
busy these days.
Yes, sir.
So the first thing I came across when it came to expressing yourself is the music. And there's many ways to describe what you do, the genres that you perform. But how would you describe your blend of going to the past, the future, more traditional stuff, more modern stuff? How you go about describing your genre of music?
Okay, well, my family is from Jamaica, so of course that reggae influence is very heavy for me. So I've always been doing like a reggae with I guess you would call it a fusion
Yeah,
of either American style R&B, or whatever it is, it's a fusion, and there's always like a element of reggae in my music.
yes.
Um, my past, I actually put out my first album 10 years ago, and it was a thank you, it was a nice blend of American style and Jamaican style, and I brought it together, called it Jamaican, because I'm the only person in my family born on U.S. soil,
Yeah.
so I had to kind of claim the two influences.
Well,
Um, mhm.
Well, that's a very interesting question. Jamaican, available now, so you can check it out if you'd like to. A lot of times, I ask this of first generation Americans, specifically West Indian. I'm one as well. For a lot of times at the party, at the cookout, I felt like I was both, but neither at the same time. What was it like for you? Is it Jamaican something specific? Is it a blend? Are you unique? How do you approach that when it comes to going through both worlds?
It's funny you should ask because that's such a tough subject because most people I meet are either American or Jamaican. They don't
Hmm.
have the same upbringing. And be it that my father came here and joined the military, there is no place here that I call home either because I've moved around so much. So when I get asked that question, where are you from?
Yeah,
I don't have an answer. I'm not from anywhere. All I
yeah,
can say is I'm Jamaican because my parents really raised my sister and I Jamaican, like in the culture. Even though we lived here, there's a lot of things that I don't get that come from here. There's a lot of circles that I don't fit in
yeah,
just because we share the same skin tone is a completely different upbringing.
yeah.
So it's very difficult to fit anywhere.
Absolutely. Shout out to butter and cheese. I'm a big fan because I'm a fat kid. So when someone asks you what's your hometown, do you just say I'm from whatever? Do you pick a town at random? Like, what do you say?
I have to give at least four because
Okay.
because they have to know because they always ask where I'm from as far as the accent. Some people
Right.
hear it, some don't. So I have to mention Jamaica. And then I mention where I was born, which is New Jersey, but I didn't stay there long. So I
Right.
say, well, I I
Good
spent
call.
a lot of time in Brooklyn because that's where everyone migrated to when they came here. And
Hey.
then I have to mention like Florida and Virginia because those are the places I lived the longest and did the most growing. Those critical years were in
Yeah.
those two places. And then now
Yeah.
I'm in California. So they get a lot when they ask that.
Did you move to California as an adult? Also part of your upbringing.
As an adult by myself
Okay.
about 4 years ago now.
So I got to ask a question as somebody who came here for the similar reason, born in Brooklyn and moved out here because I finished
Oh,
school because I wanted to be in entertainment. What was the calling for California? Because I'm not sure about you, but when I told my parents I'm going 3,000 miles away, they're like, "What are you doing? You lost your mind? What's going on with you?"
yeah. So I felt like I was at a place where I had pretty much conquered the East Coast.
Mhm.
And I was done. I felt it within me that I was just done with the East Coast. I wanted to come here, entertainment capital of the world, and just do whatever, you know, was artistic and entertainment, all of it. I wanted to just do it all. And,
Yeah.
it's that feeling within you that says it's time, is when I said, okay, it's time. And I just left everything behind and I came with nothing.
10 years in the music game, and that's just only one slice of what you do. But I gotta ask, at this stage of your career, a lot of things are good, things are going, a lot of things are working in motion. But do you feel the next step is around the corner? Are you where you want to be in your career? What does Tanta T want to do?
Oh, man. Wow. I know that my passion, my number one passion, is my music.
Hmm.
Writing, recording, performing. That's the love of my life. But at the same time, I'm an artist and I have to be creative. So when I came here, I wouldn't say I wasted time, but I had to make sure that I could keep a roof over my head. So I did a lot of jobs that didn't allow me to be creative. And I finally got to the point about a year ago where I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't give everything else my attention. I just have to go for it. That's what I came here for. And it's been a very positive ride.
Hmm.
um, I'm not where I want to be, of course, and the pandemic slowed things down a great deal for me, especially with performing. But I feel like now I have new ideas, new avenues that I can explore to still get the music out there, still get the name out there, and just keep going up from here.
You had mentioned the pandemic, and a lot of us were affected differently and similarly depending on how you look at it. You mentioned how there was a bit of a challenge for touring, but as a creative person, was it a sign, positive or negative? Did you enjoy that slowdown time? Was it difficult for you? I think everyone has a different experience with that slowdown 2020.
It was not difficult as far as my personality. I'm kind of to myself. A lot of creative people, we have to have that time
Yeah.
to ourselves to create. But the unknown was a challenge, and just my normal going out and performing at the clubs and networking, that all changed. And for me, I did go to Jamaica last year and was working in the studio on some projects, but half of my trip was spent indoors because we
Mhm.
had the prime minister lock down the country for 3 days out of each week. So
Mhm.
it really, like, I didn't get to get as much done as I could have. So
Right.
now I find myself having to make plans to go back and finish things that I started last year. Um, but I just realized during that time, I guess, that I need to be doing me.
Mhm.
We hear it all the time,
Right.
but I
Right.
need to be doing, me, because so many, you see, so many companies have blossomed out
Yeah.
of this. So many ideas have been created. And just imagine if we didn't have to do the 9 to 5, constantly, how many things we could come up with, how much we could do.
Right.
So I
Do,
just need to do, I think now's the time.
are you outside the 9 to 5 bubble? Did you make the full jump? Or are you still doing some
I made
things?
the full jump. I made the full jump. Sometimes I still find myself having to do little
Oh yeah.
hustles, little
Yeah.
side hustles, but still, I think I'm in a better place. I'm happier. I have that peace and contentment because I'm working for me, full time now.
Yeah, a lot of the listeners of the show have heard me talk about my daylight jobs a bunch of times. But I was a market. My last day job, I sold hand sanitizer door to door, and this is before the pandemic, so no
Uh,
one cared. Like no one. I was like, "Mom, I have a college degree. You want some hand sanitizer?" It's
right.
pretty bad. The pandemic for me was an odd time because from the stand-up comedy side, I mean, comedy clubs are small. They're kind of made to pack
Right.
people in, and because you're giving them intimate kind of experience. And so when they said
Hmm.
stay home, it kind of got me to lean into podcasting. So I'm kind of
Okay.
grateful for that. So I'm always I won't say weird about the pandemic. I know it caused death and destruction, and I'm not trying to negate that. But like, I got a
Right.
chance to focus on what I wanted, how to do
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm humble
Yeah.
myself.
Absolutely.
So as your career now, we're going to talk. I'm going to ask a question about demand generation because you have a huge, rabid fan base in Florida that wants to see you live. You did Jamaican radio nationwide, 90 FM was
Mhm.
broadcasting to the entire island. Went from
Mhm.
Montego Bay to Kingston.
Yes.
What's that like? I mean, everyone says that you create for what you feel and you create how you see the world. But when there's people out there rocking with you, vibing with you on different
Mhm.
parts of the world, it must be kind of sweet.
It is an awesome, awesome feeling. It makes every trial, every tribulation worthwhile. When you see people bobbing their heads, when you hear people telling you, they love this particular song or that particular song, when people screenshot you that they've bought your music, all of those things, the interviews that I've done, the write ups that have been published, like it's a amazing feeling to create something that is accepted, and I have no regrets. I have no regrets.
Well, let's talk about this latest release, Wine Up. I enjoyed it. And, one of my many jobs, because we West Indians, right? We had 10 jobs. I'm a wedding DJ as well. And I had the pleasure of having a reggae wedding last weekend. I go, this totally fits in because it has the bit of the old and new together, which I really
Yes.
love. Um,
Thank
what
you.
was that like? The release of Wine Up, it was like the most recent release you had, but it was a different stage of your career. This is a much more mature sound, a much more holistic sound. What was that like going into creating that song?
Creating that song, oh dear. Wine Up, I wanted to do something different because I always try different mixtures of reggae, whether it's slowing it down and doing that rock steady with a modern beat, or if it's just revisiting like an older sound or then a newer sound. With Wine Up, I wanted to create like a blend between a maybe a hip hop and a reggae. So it
Hmm.
has those heavy bass lines that I just absolutely adore and has to be in my music.
Yeah.
And then it had like that feel that you can definitely dance to. I'm a big dancer. I don't know where this came from. All of a
Okay.
sudden, I just love dancing, and carnival is a big thing. And when I lived in Florida, my sister would pull me to Miami Carnival, Orlando Carnival. I wanted to bring the whole style of carnival and dance and reggae and just kind of blend the new generation of music with what I'm familiar with.
Have you been to the LA Carnival this year or before the pandemic?
I've been before the pandemic
Yeah.
once.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's
it
aight.
was coming up. It was coming
Yeah.
up.
I wish you see the face she made. She's like, well, it's there. It's kind of like
Wasn't
everyone gets in like the South American carnival, the West Indian carnivals all like pile to each other here in LA. So it's the thing,
yeah, it was different, but yeah, it wasn't bad.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but if I can
Mhm.
ask a personal question,
Sure.
uh, what's missing from music today? Everyone says that it's a different era, different time, but what makes you go, you know what? There's a spot for me here. There's a role for me here. People are asking for this. I can provide this.
hmm I would say the thing missing from music now is like that rawness, like that. I mean, I come from the era of Biggie and Pac, and when Jay Z was real hot, and like he
Mhm.
still is, but we had those storytellers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, we rapped about something, we talked about something, not just what we're capable of doing in the bedroom or what money and whatnot, but we told stories. We had like Mr. Cheeks talk about Renee and the love that he had for this girl that he lost, and like that's what I miss, like those real feelings. So I call my music feel good music because even though there's a lot to get you down,
Mhm.
there's still a lot of good, and I want people to listen to me and feel good. Just create memories that are are positive ones that you could always refer back to, or get
Yeah.
into a good mood, because there's so much to bring us down.
I had the pleasure of making two songs in my life, and I go, "Whoa, that's
Yeah,
hard work." And you had 10 years of albums. I
I
respect the
do.
heck out of that. You got more on the way, so respect. I
Right.
totally
Thank you.
commend people who stick with it.
Thank you.
But it's not just the music because, and I was just, just perusing some of the information out there. You also are adept with the brush. You're a painter as well. When it comes down to influences, are they the same influences that influence your painting work as far as your music, or are they feel two different worlds you kind of keep separate?
I think they're more two different worlds.
Hmm.
I've always been a musician, but I've always been a painter as well, like an artist. And I mean, I guess I kind of took the same road, but different paths, because around college time, I went to school for the arts to kind of just better my skill. And then around that same time, I started recording in the studios for the first time. So they were both growing um, simultaneously, but my influences for the art, I mean, I have my favorite artists, and it's just a completely different world. I love realism. Um, I love creating portraitures,
Hmm.
doing portraits. So I focus on that now. Children is what my body of work is at the moment, and then I'm going to move into body parts. And maybe that part kind of connects to my music, because I'm very like open with
Hmm.
my music about sexuality and just being free, and you know so my body parts, I think, might connect more to my just free spirit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it a different kind of release when you paint, or do you do it that way? Do you paint to release, or it's kind of like, no, I gotta make sure I work on my craft every day, something to work and practice on? Like, what's the?
Yes, Flobo, I actually hadn't painted in about 10 years
Uh-huh.
before now.
Oh, wow.
And so it has been a challenge,
Yeah.
because things have changed and I forgot. It's almost like I forgot how to blend and how to. So I
Yeah.
had to like relearn my style of painting. And that it's not fun. I'll be honest with you. It's not.
Walk me through that. What do you mean? Is it kind of like piles of castaway canvases and saying, "What am I doing?" Is it just like saying this is not fun anymore? Like, what's that like?
I'll give you an example. My last painting I completed, it took maybe a year. And the subject was three children that I took in Jamaica, and then I just painted them. But
Yeah.
I, it's almost like I want to paint a certain way, and then when I pick up the brush, that's not what I see. Like, that's not what I do, because that's not my style.
Right.
So it's me trying to change my style to suit what I like, but what's natural, what's organic
Yeah.
is not that. So it took a process of accepting this is how you paint.
You're
And it's,
absolutely right.
yeah.
Well, what our mutual friend Anna, I told her that I couldn't paint because I was in high school. I had to take an art class to graduate, and I forgot to take that class. And I was my last. Imagine passing pre-calculus, but in danger of not going to college because I couldn't
Because
pass
of
art
art.
class. Yeah, because of art. And so I told her, she goes, "No, we're gonna paint." And so one day she came over and we started painting, and I was like, I
Yeah.
felt like I was a baby. I had no coordination
Yes.
whatsoever, and it must be not the worst feeling, but one of the worst feelings in the world, when you have an entire kaleidoscope in your
Yeah.
brain, but your
Yep.
hand going, red, blue.
Mhm.
It's an odd feeling. It really is.
Absolutely odd. And then you just have to accept what you come out with, because it's you. It's how you see things. And I find myself telling myself at the canvas, what do you see? Paint what you see. Is that
Yeah.
what you see? And then saying, okay, well, if that's what you see, then that's what it is,
Yeah.
And music though is completely different because it's just pure joy. Like I can write a song in a day, and then I want to record it. Now I just, it's just bam, bam, bam. I can do it all day, every day. The art is a bigger challenge and it takes a lot more time.
And for those you don't know, studio chime ain't cheap, so you can bang them out as quick
Yep.
as you can.
No,
Save that cash. Uh,
not
but not
cheap.
only that, you also knit as well. Is that true?
Knit?
Yeah.
I sure do.
What?
If I could reach over and pull some, I
What
I
don't you do,
actually
Tanya?
do knit, and I make baby hats and diaper covers that match. I've knitted purses, diaper bags. I don't know what's with me and knitting, but that's like therapeutic to me.
Okay.
Um, I know you might know, being a West Indian, when your parents bring you here and then they they say, okay, you get the chance to grow up here, they want you to do everything.
Yeah,
They
that's
want
true.
you to be well rounded. So whatever my mother could put me in, I play the piano, I knit, i I cook, I play karate, I, or do karate.
Yeah.
I was in gymnastics, tap, jazz, ballet. Everything this woman could put me into. I know how to, like, my father taught us how to mow the lawn and edge it and, fix things. And so, like, there's so many things that I can just do.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to me, but people look at me and say, "Oh my gosh, you don't need anybody." But it's not true. It's not true. But I can help myself, and I don't know if that's a positive thing or what,
It,
but
it, it can be negative, but it's mostly positive.
it could be negative, right? Because that's what I hear all the time is that,
Yeah.
oh, you got to let a man be a man.
Well, I mean, that's a
Well,
whole different
can
issue.
you?
That's the people with bad with insecurity, but it's kind of like, oh man, I can do everything, but maybe some
Yeah.
friends want to help. That's how they show their love
Yes.
and inspiration. But I'm with you. I've grown up. We did karate as well. My brother
Mhm.
did piano. I tried to teach
Mhm.
guitar. I student council. Like it was just I
Yes.
eight things, man. It's just the way it was.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to be kind of a weird question. But
Okay.
I'm sure you get it all the time, though.
Hmm.
How do you find the time to do all this? Like, how do you carve up your day? Is it one day you do one thing? Is it like you give an hour to something else? How do you make sure these things get done?
Hmm. I'd say the dynamic of things has changed, being in LA specifically, because it's such a a chore to figure out how you can make the money to do what you came here to do.
Hmm.
So whereas before, when I was, other states, you have uh, easier living situations, um, less costly. So, I would work full time and then I'd do my music after work and then I'd perform on the weekends and then I'd do my knitting or my artwork in between time, and it worked that way. But now it's like I have to focus months at a time on one thing or the other.
Sure.
So for the last few months, I've been just focusing on getting these paintings done so I can get into a gallery. And then after that, I'm going to focus back on the music because, as you said, it's very expensive to record. So then I've got to just build this now and then do the music next. And then, at the same time, I'm doing acting as well, the background acting. So it all has to be prioritized. Um, and I do as much as I can when I can. And I also don't sleep. I
Like Batman just throwing the city. I love it.
also don't sleep, so we have plenty of time.
What is the dream venue? Do you believe that is like a performance venue, a dream role, the acting side, a dream gallery? When the mind's eye is open, where do you see yourself at the most like visual success?
That's a good question. I think I've only thought of that on the music side. I've always wanted to, of course, win a Grammy.
Mhm.
I've always wanted to perform in that setting. Um, and I've always wanted to be on stage. I don't know why I see myself on stage with Chronix. I don't know if you know who Chronix is, a
I do.
major
Yeah.
artist, but just performing live with like some of the best, that would be doing it for me. That would be everything to me.
Yeah.
Just sharing the stage with certain names that have influenced me and have been pushing reggae music and its authenticity for the last while.
Would you stay in LA or would you set up shop somewhere else?
I'm not stuck to LA,
Mhm.
so I mean I could definitely see myself back in Florida, where I moved here from. I could see myself in Jamaica. I could see myself overseas, in Europe. I mean, wherever is gonna allow me to be the most productive, I would go there.
Wow, we're so similar in that regard. We're from
Yeah.
Brooklyn. I lived in Florida for about 4 years. Came out to
Okay.
LA 15 years ago. I'm an OG in that way, but the
Okay.
different corners of the country. So, what would be Tanta T's favorite junk food? Right, if you're just out there perusing, trying to get something for some refill action, diets off, cheat day.
I'll get a lot of those these days. I love ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I love ice cream. I can eat ice cream for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Respect. What's your
Mm.
flavor?
Since I don't get grape nut, I
Wow, taste the tropics, yo.
taste the track you remember.
Yo, Avenue D was lit back in the day, man. Jeez. Respect.
But, you know,
That's delicious, by the way.
it is.
Yeah.
So since I don't get that, I settle for cookies and cream or like a pralines and cream.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like that. I got sweet teeth myself. I'm all about donuts and cookies. That's my jam.
Oh,
I will.
Danishes. Oh,
Danishes too. I'll totally
I
pile that
just
on.
discovered a new Danish at Starbucks. I'm like,
I'll see you tomorrow.
okay. Right.
I asked a lot of my guests this question. I'm not sure if it really applies to you, but I ask it anyway
Mhm,
because you do 20 different things. What
mhm.
does a day off for Tanta T look like? What do you do when there's nothing on your calendar? It's just you and sunshine here in LA. What do you do?
Ooh, to be honest, I don't know what that's like because I don't have those.
Okay.
But if I were to imagine a day off, it would still be doing something.
Mhm.
Um, Outdoors, I like to be outside. I like to be in nature. Um, but the wheels are always turning.
Yeah.
So I guess if I could just be outdoors and not have to worry about meeting deadlines,
Mhm.
I'd be okay. That's a good day.
I got a couple more questions before I let you go on your way, but this one here
Sure.
is something was a bit of a debate I've heard with yes and no, and I don't want to lead you, so I'm just gonna ask outright: do you consider yourself a success? Why or why not?
Mm. So this took growth to see what
Hmm.
I do. See myself as a success because I've come so far.
Hmm.
I've come so far. I have to um, count the small victories, because that is important. There's a lot of things that go into this business. Um, Battling your own thoughts, battling the world, maintaining relationships, overcoming fears, all of those things. If you can conquer them and then say, okay, this is what I plan to do, and you can actually execute that, you have to acknowledge it as a success.
Yeah.
And so I do see myself as a success, but I have a lot more to accomplish.
I can just imagine people listening now just fist pumping in the air, like, yes, go ahead, girl. That's what I'm talking about. So Tanta T, thank you so much for being on the show. New Amsterdam Radio, the podcast for creatives. If someone's listening right now and they want to connect with you, just to hit you up or to book you, how do they go about doing that?
The easiest way to do that would be through my website, which is the official tantat.com. And on the website, there is a place that says social, it's a tab. And you have all of my social media there. Pretty much anywhere you go, you type in Tanta, Tantat, and you'll be able to connect with me through whatever site that you prefer, whether it's leaving a message on the website or Instagram, wherever you can connect with me.
Make sure you go out and do that. The latest single, Wine Up, available now wherever the finest music is available. Only the finest, yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Flobo, for having me. It's been